Welcome back to No Cap SEC. No Cap, Oakland just knocked off Kentucky in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Has John Calipari lost his fastball, folks? Has he lost his fastball? We're not going to stay talking about basketball, though, but we do need to talk about some of this SEC stuff, most notably how they lazily tried to Greg Sankey and the SEC, probably with a little bit of help from the folks down in Austin, Chris Del Conte, whoever, trying to put one past everybody, putting out a statement that they're just going to keep the schedule, same as from last year or from the 2024 season, switch to home at home. Makes zero sense to me. Let's talk about it. First thing I'm going to say, oh, man, it just means more. Yeah, right? Kentucky. I think Calipari has lost his fastball, Kyle. I think he has. Wow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that busted up my ticket, too. But I don't know. I didn't have him going very far, though, so maybe not. I'll have to take a look here in a minute. So, thanks for checking in. Everybody coming into the show. I'll let everybody get in here. I know Kate Chris is on right now. I don't necessarily want to take everybody away from that. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we saw today from, and they put it out last night or whatever. I saw it this morning that the schedule is going to stay the same. It's just crazy to me that you would actually go there. I mean, everything we knew was that, yes, they were going to continue with the 8-game schedule, which I think is kind of weak too. But I understand why they wanted to stay with the 8. They're trying to do whatever they can do with getting more money out of ESPN, like they really got to have it. And on top of that, making sure that they get enough teams in. But it's starting to look really weak on the part of the SEC. You're the team, 14 out of 19 or whatever it is, national championships. What are we doing? Why are you so worried about how many conference games and non-conference games? But even that, what in the hell if you're staying with 8, what the hell does that have to do with anything? I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. Hey, welcome into the show. Sooner Legend, Mike, Boomer129, Kyle, Hankster. Thanks, guys, for coming in. The Professor, as a Florida fan, this is complete bullish. Back-to-back hardest schedules probably ever. He's not wrong. I think the way they've got it ranked so far, Oklahoma has a tougher schedule in 2025, but I don't think I've ever seen a tougher schedule when you add in the non-con schedule for Florida. It's insane. It's just flat out insane for 2024. So if Billy wins 7 games this year, or, you might need to have to put a statue out in front of the swamp for him because it's wild, Mars Jams, what's up, my man? What's up? How's everybody? Brian, thanks for coming in, guys. We appreciate everybody showing up to No Cap SEC. It looks like I'm on my own tonight. That's all good, though. I can talk it up, and you guys can help just, move it along by – let's talk about it. What do you want to talk about? What do you think about this scheduling and what it is? We'll bring up some of that stuff and kind of just talk. We'll talk a little bit about what you think of this schedule. I just want your comments. I'm good to do this. Probably just go about an hour and talk a little bit about it. Let's see. If you had better get on the board with FSU joining. Yeah, I would think so. If Florida gets to 9 wins, they better build Billy a freaking statue out of the swamp. There's just no way. There's just no other way. I'm gonna cook for a little while there, Legend. I'm gonna go ahead and cook for a while. Let me hang with this. But I'm just telling you, man. To me, I feel like when you start looking at it looks bad on the SEC number one, and I'm struggling to understand why it is that they're trying so hard, not really for Texas, because I understand why they're trying to prop up Texas. you know, and we'll go through some of that again. You know, I know you guys have probably seen my video, but yeah, you don't care about the schedule. Let me show you some. Boomer 129. Did you watch the video from earlier? Because I got to show you guys something. Just want to show you this real quick. This is insanity. So, yeah, here we go. What's up, guys? Mike Jacobs, what's up, my man? How you doing? All right, can't change it. No, you can't change it, but you could change it, and they should have changed it. It was flat out laziness on the part of the SEC, and that's what we're talking about. You know, that's what I'm saying is that, look, you look at this deal, and this was already going to be the 2024 schedule. That's all well and good. I don't think anybody necessarily has a problem with that, nor should you. But look, 12-2 Bama at home, Texas in the Red River, obviously another 12-win team. Then you got 2 11-win teams in Ole Miss and Missouri. Those are road games. So is the LSU game in Baton Rouge. You know, crazy stuff there. They're 10-3, 6-2. You know, plus 16 overall in conference play, plus 45 in it's just nuts. Plus 45 in total wins and losses. You go to Texas, and they've got, aside from Georgia and Oklahoma, there's 2 teams on that schedule that had a winning record overall, and the best was A&M and they were what, 500 in conference, 7-6 overall. Kentucky 7-6 overall. Florida, 5-7, 3-5. Arkansas, 1-7, 1-7, and 0-8. If you take out Georgia and Oklahoma, then you've got the Texas opponents. This is the funniest thing for me right here. Combined 30-44. 14 games below 500 in the SEC alone. They'd be 30-44. It's insanity, man. And it's one thing, yeah, that's fine. You can have that record for, you go ahead and they want to try to prop them up. What is I don't understand what they were talking about when they said that this just gives them another year so they can make sure everything's good. Mizzou has another laughable schedule. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. No two ways around it. It's but why prop up Mizzou? That doesn't make sense either. Look at that though. 53-48 is their overall record. They're below 500 anyway, even with Georgia and Oklahoma 23 wins. 19 in conference wins. Yeah, they literally play every bottom half SEC team. Yeah, look, and look at this. Vandy 0-8 in the conference, 1-7 in the conference. Mizzou. Some guy in the comments was trying to tell me, "Oh, we got to go over there and deal with the Cowbells of Mississippi State in 25." So they suck. There's no excuse for it. Here's what I'm going to say about this: is a lot. You guys can say whatever. There is zero excuse if you're Texas. Zero excuse if you're Texas to not make the playoff the first 2 years that you're in the SEC. You have no excuses. If you don't do it, you fell on your face. You fell on your face. And guys, remember that Steve Sarkisian has won 10 games once last year. He's been a head coach for 10 years at Washington, SC, and now Texas, and he's won 10 games once. Crazy. They have no excuses for not getting it done. Chirping with I'll let them chirp. They bet. Well, what are they going to have to chirp about if they lose? If they don't win 10 at least? They're picked to win 11 games this year for a reason. Hell, there's a bunch of guys out there, a bunch of SEC guys out there that have them going undefeated in their little models. Undefeated. You think there's any way that they don't get dog walked in Austin by Georgia? I don't. No way. And they're probably going to have been dog walked the week before in the Red River. Look ahead and you get smoked. You don't look ahead and you get beat anyway. And now you got a hangover with Georgia coming to town. Bad deal for Texas. That's the one tough thing on their schedule for 2024. One thing. Yeah. South Carolina. Oh, here we go, Des. Hey, I'm just talking about this 2 years in a row. What excuses are you going to give me if they don't go to the playoff both years, their first 2 years? And even maybe win it. With that schedule, you should walk into the playoff. Walk in. What are you going to do if you don't, Des? Tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. Yeah, they still have to win. They won't. Why do I care? I'm a freaking content creator, Des. I'm a content creator. I'm an Oklahoma fan. Why do I care? Because I like college football. What are you talking about? That's as lazy of a comment as what Sankey did with the damn schedule. Why would you just not change it to the other half? That was the entire deal when they talked about it last year, that they said they were going to wait until 2026 to go to 9 games if they were going to do it. It'd be after the 25 season. But in the 25 season, it would just swap over. If you didn't play Texas the first year, you played them the second year. If you didn't play Oklahoma the first year, you played them the second year. It would have just swapped the schedules. Crazy stuff. It's clown stuff. Oh, you guarantee it had nothing to do with Texas? Something tells me that's not true. Something tells me that's not true. Uh-huh. Yep, those are 2 losses right there. It was damn lazy. Damn lazy. Damn lazy. And I mean, you didn't even have they could have been just as lazy and just swapped the schedule around. That's it. Would have been no problem. They wouldn't have lost any of their other games. It wouldn't have been anything to mess with the schedule. The other thing is, I'm not sure that I understand why they're so waiting on this. I mean, first off, the entire excuse that he gave, that they want to wait and see what the landscape's going to do with the CFP and with realignment and all that other stuff, that just seems weak. And that's here's the biggest part to me is that we, as fans of Oklahoma and Texas, we've been in the Big 12 for all these years. It's gotten stale. It's been bad for a while. You know, you've had X amount of, K-State's usually up there doing pretty good. When Okie Light is one of your next best teams from OU in Texas, then it's time to move on. But it's exciting to be going into the SEC and to get to, man, I'm looking forward to the trips, right? I'm looking forward to the trips. Now, it's fine. But, man, so we get to play Missouri twice in a row, and it'll be cool playing Tennessee twice in a row because of Josh. Hopefully you can get him both times. But that's a nice little – that could be a cool little semi-rivalry there between, you got Jackson and Malieva, same age, starting at the same time. That could be a nice little deal. We'll see what happens. Don't want to play. Yeah. Who wants to play Vandy? I mean, and you get to play him twice. Same with South Carolina. I mean, Beamer he'll say something stupid that'll make you want to kick his ass. But, it is what it is. I mean, I guess that'd be kind of cool, except for like what Professor's talking about is you got that stupid rooster playing over the damn thing all the time. That's a tough place to go play. And look, I agree with you 100% on that, Boomer, that look, you definitely did not. We didn't. Here's the deal, though, and somebody said this in the comment section on the other video, and I'll say, and I'll echo it, is that you didn't join the SEC to get a couple of games against Vanderbilt. You didn't join it for, the Missouri game either, for that matter. I think a lot of people would like to get in with, that you realize that they've never played a freaking regular season game against Arkansas. Oklahoma hasn't. That's insane to me. It's like 300 miles. Ole Miss has a lax schedule. Yeah, let me pull up the schedule real quick. I got it here. 1 second. All right. Can y'all see that pretty good, or do I need to blow it up some more? I'll make it as big as it gets. So there's whose do we want to look at first? I can move it around as we go, but who do you want to look at? Okay, so OU, yeah, I'd like to see OU and Florida get at it. I mean, there was a lot of talking about that going on before, So let's look at Bama doesn't have it. That's the one thing about it, too, is that, aside from Mizzou and Texas, I don't know why they're trying to prop up Mizzou either, but Georgia, you're going to play Alabama 2 years in a row. Okay. Ole Miss, Texas, Florida. I mean, they always play Florida and then at Tennessee. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. I guess it's tougher than one of them schedules that we've been talking about. Bama, for Kalen DeBoer, welcome to the show. LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Vandy at home in 25. Obviously, they're never going to get rid of the Iron Bowl, but at Georgia, at Mizzou. But I don't buy Mizzou, guys. I do not buy Mizzou at all. And I mean, I feel like they've got Bama at home, but they're not gonna get the over this season. Who are we wanting to look? Ole Miss. All right. Arkansas. So they're on the road to Arkansas this year. So it'll be next year. But then they got Florida at home, LSU at home, on the road to Georgia. I don't know. That's not that easy of a schedule there, Professor. It ain't Texas. But listen, I'm cool with it too. I want to travel to all the stadiums as well. That's why I don't understand why it makes zero sense to do that with the schedule, to just stick with the exact same teams that you're playing in year 1 and 24. Why? You can do it half and half. It makes zero sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Why does everybody like that dude, man? He's a clown. I thought he was a Lincoln guy anyway. Yeah. After you're going to be there for the Tennessee game, I'll definitely be there for that one. That's the first SEC game, man. And I'm thinking I may be moving up there pretty soon, but not just yet. But I'm going to be there at a lot of games. Who's going to the spring game? Traveling to all the stadiums is going to be a blast, bro. Just going to be a blast. I don't know. Do you think is he tight with BV? I don't think that. I mean, where what kind of jobs he got? What other schedules we want to look at? Tennessee. I mean, look, this is wild. I mean, and A&M's got a pretty easy schedule too, but of course they suck. So they get Texas and LSU at home this year. You could see. I think that A&M with Elko, they're kind of one of those dark horse teams. I could see them beating. I could definitely see them beating Mizzou. I mean, they're going to beat Mississippi State and South Carolina. They should. Auburn, they should. Florida, I don't know. I mean, they're on the road at Florida in the Swamp. They shouldn't win that one this year, but you never know. A&M might be okay. And they've got look, man, it all depends on how does that Colin Klein offense fit with these guys that he's got there. I mean, I like their quarterback, but the main thing, but they have trouble with Mississippi State when Mike Leach was there, though, Des. You know what I mean? I don't know. Here's the thing about Jeff. I think he's going to get their offense going again, but Blake Shapen ain't that dude, right? Now, year two, maybe they're a little better. I think that Mississippi State's going to struggle, though. Yeah. Did you? Which one are you going to? Oh yeah, the Tennessee game. Hey, I think it's an exciting game right there. Who you got? Blake Shapen? he's trash. He's trash. Man, you're going to that well when they've been as bad as they've been the last 2 years at Baylor, mostly because he can't throw the ball in the ocean, bro. Can't throw the ball in the ocean. Oh, is this a Mizzou fan? You Big 12 folk have a long way to go. What Big 12 folk? Not Big 12ers. Not no more. And if you're a Mizzou fan, come on, bro. Don't come in here talking stupid. 10-win season in the last decade. You hadn't won a conference championship since the freaking 50s. Shut up. Okay. Well, what are you guys doing? Come on. Yeah. What do you make of LSU next year? Professor? I mean, it's LSU. They got talent. The guys you don't know are talented. If the quarterback, if he can go, he's not going to be Jaden Daniels. But he looks like he could spin it. And they always have stud receivers. The main thing with them, I think, is that their defense was so bad. If they can play defense, you never know. But their schedule's tough too. I mean, if you look at, obviously we're looking at 25, but it's just opposite of this. So they've got home the Bama game's at home, Oklahoma's at home, Ole Miss is at home this year. You know? I mean, they should win their home games or their away games. I mean, they're winnable. They don't have to be great, I don't think. Do you? Yeah, Missouri, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Yeah, I agree with that part. I tell you what, though, they went in and they got a solid defensive coordinator. You know, they went and got Bo Davis from you guys, and I think that was a terrible, terrible deal for Sark to allow. I mean, I'm here for it. I can't believe Sark let him get out of there, though. The way he recruits and the way he's developed those guys. You got Colin Simmons coming in, and you're not, you don't have all your guys. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, they got rid of the whole staff. Did he? I mean, I get it. I could understand that. And they gave him a shit ton of money and you get an opportunity, but don't you think that hurts Texas? Because the reason that I think I'm struggling to understand why everybody, aside from the schedule, I'm struggling to understand why everybody thinks Texas is such a shoo-in, because the places that you are replacing stuff, everybody's talking about Oklahoma's got to replace this and that. So does Texas. All these combine first rounders, man. Yeah. He does really. Yeah, well, you need both, bro. You need both. Mm-hmm. I think the environment will be tougher than the team. Well, it's always tougher than and you got to go there. So you got to deal with them there. I think Nuss is definitely unknown, but I also think that what do you have to really do if you're Nussmeier? You know what I mean? You just protect the football. If they play good defense and you protect the football, they're going to have great receivers. He can spin it. I think my question would be is when are we going to see another really good running back out of LSU? Because we haven't seen one in a while. Caden Durham might be that guy. Bro. That's not even, and you know what? It's easy to say that, but we're talking starters. Yeah, they're replacing, but Sexton would have been a starter, but he was hurt. He got hurt in the Florida State game the year before. He missed most of the season. He came back. He was there. He's ready to go. They've got talent that they've recruited there. They're unknowns, but how good was the offensive line last year for Oklahoma? It wasn't great. And Tyler Guyton didn't play like the last 4 or 5 games, and Sexton was in for him, and they never even worried about going back to Guyton. You're full of it, bro. No, he's not. Bro. You're going to see. Wait, didn't we hear all that last year? Y'all didn't even get any sacks on Dylan. We got 5 on your boy, on Quinn. He's not. And there you go. Big Bill Beatonbow is the reason that I don't concern myself with the offensive line, man. I do not. You can say that if you want to. I think it's generally Texas quarterbacks that don't show up. Jackson had in the offense is good. There's going to be some things that are different, but it's not going to be a ton different. And so we saw enough good things out of him in his one start, but we also saw some things out of him throughout the year whenever he came in. The play that he made and the checkoff that he made at the end of the BYU game was important. He checked into it to get that first down. He made a couple plays with his legs. Look, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, he's got to come in and do it, but who's to say he can't? Oklahoma's offense, you really believe that Oklahoma's going to have a bad offense? I mean, they haven't done it yet. Lincoln Riley left with a Heisman Trophy and another 5-star left with them. They were still fine. Then they go get the Elite 11 winner, and everybody's acting like he's trash. It's silly shit. Well, hold on now. Now, what I would tell you is I'm not the biggest Casey guy in the world. I think he's that in case of emergency break glass for like relieving him in the game. He's not going to be the starter if Jackson were hurt for more than a week or for that game or whatever. That they're going to go to Hawkins if that happens. What are you doing in the hospital, Lemon? Come on, man. Hey, man, I told you before that how I felt about that, but I've laid off of it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? You broke your leg. How'd you do that? She's Lemon. Jay's not trash. He's not trash. So, and again, and Seth Luttrell, much as people want to act like, it's a big deal that you lost Jeff Lebby or even, that you're replacing your defensive coordinator too. We're talking about guys that are fitting right in with exactly what they were already doing. You're going to see some wrinkles to what they were doing as far as the offense because Seth Luttrell's an upgrade there. He's got a better track record of being an offensive coordinator than any of those guys. Than Jeff, for sure. Jeff called plays for 2 years. He didn't call plays at Ole Miss. So, oh, yeah, we got faith in Seth. Absolutely. Look, man, and his offenses have been solid, and he's going to call the game. Look, I think that what you want to see out of him, you don't need a bunch of changes. I think that you want to see more even play calling than what we saw with Levy. there was times that it seemed like Levy got lost in what it was that he was actually trying to accomplish. And don't get me wrong, they had a top 3 scoring defense, top 5 total offense and scoring offense. They were top 5 in both. But there were times that the play calling was trash. Like in the Kansas game that they lost, they throw the ball like 11, 12, 13 times. Jason Bean threw the ball twice as many times. It was like 17, 18 more times than what Dylan Gabriel threw it. They didn't make any sense. None. The play call at the end of the Oklahoma State game the next week, trash. He called a great game against Texas. He called bad games against SMU. I mean, no, I don't disagree that 9 wins is definitely, I mean, even 8, depending on how it went. But here's the thing. Do you really believe in Missouri, Des? I mean, I'm just talking to you as a real college football guy. I know you come in here and most of the time you talk, you're not just talking out of your ass. So I'm going to ask you this. Do you really believe in Ole Miss? And do you really believe in Missouri more than you believe in Oklahoma and what they normally do? Because I don't. Some of these people that are acting like these wins are like guaranteed or losses to these certain teams are guaranteed, I don't buy it. First off, I don't trust that Ole Miss. I mean, look, when have we seen somebody that's so heavy in the portal win it all? Mizzou beat Ohio State. They were down. They were losing in the fourth quarter 3-0 to the third stringer at Ohio State. They scored a couple of touchdowns at the end. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. One track mind. Well, there was just times that with Ole Miss, that's the thing about him is that, look, I like Lane. I think he calls, and he's definitely going to be, he's going to call a good offense, and they've got weapons, But here's the thing. If you look back at what OU's defense is going to be, if they're in the top 20, the offense doesn't have to be even top 10, but they could be. So are you going to be look, year 3 for BV, he had the number 2 scoring defense when he was at Clemson, and this was before they got any of the 5-star guys. Their first national championship there was his 3rd year. Number 2 scoring defense, number 2 total defense. I'm telling you that this is the year that they should do it, and they're deeper everywhere on the defensive side. So you don't have to rely on the freshmen, but I think some of those freshmen are going to make a mark there. They're going to get some time. But PJ should be ready to rock and roll. You're going to see more out of Deshaun McCullough. The linebackers should be good to go. I know we were talking about Jaren Kanak a lot this week. We don't necessarily have to. What's up, Coach? If they still have their DC, but they don't. They don't. Who do I have to pay to? Hey, Des. This is a sore subject around here right now, buddy. This is a sore subject around here, Jaren Kanak, right now. I had some people pissy at me the other day. That guy was, you're talking about Kip Lewis. I don't care if he's 215. That's 12 pounds less than Jaren. Same size pretty much as far as height. He's 6'1" to 6'2". Runs a 4.4. Kanak's run a 4.3 before. But what does any of that do? The athleticism and stuff, if you're not running full speed and you're not in the right place. And as a middle linebacker, you're supposed to be calling the defense. You don't even know where you're supposed to be. Yeah, man. Kip is good. He's played linebacker more. And here's the other thing. Those second-year guys that are in the room, They're not going. Hey, you start looking at Samuel Omosigo, baller, right? Lewis Carter, baller. I like Kannick, man. I think he's a great athlete. I think that if he doesn't get it together in the spring, I don't think you see him much in the rotation this year. I don't. Because BV's not going to freaking play him if he's not doing well. He's just not going to do it, man. Phil Pachotti's still got to get back from that injury, but I mean, yeah, he's a big dude and played at ING, another one of those guys. Look, they got a lot of dudes that are in the fold there. They're deep everywhere. That's the thing. The safeties, the corners, you're going to get some young guys in there. I mean, I like to see that Woody kind of moving into that nickel position and see what we get out of Makari Vickers and those guys, you know? Yeah, he's got to make a jump. Are you talking about if he's watching this and I'm right about him? He's talking about, that other guy. That's true. But look what happened when Stutz went out. Here's the deal. When you start looking over your shoulder, it's somebody said it the other day, pressure either makes a diamond or bursts pipes. And I don't think that he handles pressure well. And that's the scary thing about it. I like him. I hope that he gets it done because athletically, I mean, he's a baller. But when you get in your head, anything you get in your head about, I'm not even talking about sports, man, you make things so much harder for yourself. And some guys, they just never get over that shit, man. I've been covering college sports, especially for a long time. You see it in the basketball court. You see it on the field. You just see it in a lot of places. And I hope that he comes to it, but some guys don't. Some guys don't. Yeah, and if you look, you know what? K. Chris's uncle said something about that the other day, that, look, he would have been really good in the old regime where it was see ball, hit ball, you know, because you don't have to think. You just go. Go hit the B gap or go, you know, that's exactly what they were saying on K. Chris's show, too, is like, you know, he's great whenever, you know, blitz, go hit the B gap. You don't have to think about it. And he would probably be good in that kind of situation where he would be that dude, right? Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. Nick Anderson going to take a huge leap. Yeah. You know who else I think is ready to take a big leap too is Jaden Gibson. Jaden Gibson came on strong at the end of the year last year. Came on strong. Yeah. Kansas could win the Big 12, though. They could win the Big 12 this year. If Jalen Daniels stays healthy, they're going to make a run at it. Yeah, you got to play fast, man. Mm-hmm. Listen, if anybody knows, it's Teddy. Look, but they are saying, I mean, they're acknowledging, if Teddy is acknowledging that there's been an issue, that tells you something though as well, Kyle. This one I like. Did New Mexico State lose at home? Or Auburn lost to New Mexico State at home, yeah. Yep. And their coaches and that quarterback are at Vandy now. And you blame Gus Malzahn? I like that. Yeah, there's got to be. Here's the thing. You would probably look, if you're not going to get on the field anymore, you're probably going to have to. But I think that they've gotten most of the guys. I think if you lose anybody, you could lose a running back. I could see you maybe losing a receiver or two for sure. You could. But I'm going to say this. That depth is nice in there. Yeah, there's going to be turnover everywhere. It's man, right now is the Wild West. You don't even this whole deal with guys. Caden Proctor yesterday. What the hell was that? And they were talking about the dude could keep the money. Is that possible? Is that possible that he got that $100,000? He's never suited up and worked out yet with them on the field. You heard Ferentz saying yesterday, I'm glad, well, we didn't give him our playbook, so at least he didn't get away with that. It doesn't sound like they're going to be able to do shit about the money, though. $100,000 to not play it down or do anything. That stuff was wild, man. Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm. The whole deal with Caden Proctor, did you see? Okay, so Caden Proctor was the one that the 5-star tackle that flipped to Bama. Then after Saban retired, he got in the portal, went to Iowa. And then I guess he went to spring break with the boys from Alabama, and now he's going back to Alabama. He's already going into the portal, and they hadn't even started spring practice yet. Oh, yeah. Is that what it is, Des? There's some trim in there. Tuscaloosa he's chasing. Yeah, probably so. It's got spring is in the air. That's the funny part, though, is that he's the one that told on him tampering. That's the funny part. Like they had to self-report because of what he said while he was at that Iowa basketball game. That shit was hilarious. But he didn't know Iowa. It's like, of course. But can you imagine you flip from Iowa to Bama, then you leave Bama after your first year that you started the whole time. They think they're getting you back. They give you $100,000 and you split before spring practice even starts. I don't know if the dude will ever be allowed back in Iowa. Welcome to the show, Unc. Good to see you, man. Whoa, what is this? What does that mean? Hell no. Yeah, I mean, can you blame them? Because, I mean, yeah, they can give you the money or whatever. What are you going to win? The days of going to the championship game because there's 2 divisions and 1 division's trash, is over. Hey, man, we've been talking about the whole Canic thing a little bit in here. And I was saying I liked what you were talking about, that BV probably should have used him more in that first year. I kind of agree with that because, I mean, at this point, though, I don't think he has any time. I think that what they were saying about the spring is the time because there's too many guys behind him that are pushing on him. I don't know, man. This is going to get me angry about the portal again. Listen, here's the only thing I'm going to say about the portal and all that kind of stuff. And we don't have to talk about a bunch of that, but here's the deal. This stuff is that kind of stuff right there is exactly why it's not NIL stuff so much, that you need to have flat out collective bargaining. You're paying them revenue share. That's when you can get a contract. And when I saw on the SEC Connect last night where they were talking about they don't know how it works, here's how it works. You have a buyout just like the coaches do because it's actual revenue share. You have a contract with them. It could be 1 year, it could be 2 years, whatever, but you're contracted through the end of it, no matter what it is. That's how you change that stuff. You're never going to get rid of the transfer stuff, but what you can do is if they're going to do it, then they have to pay the buyout or the school has to do it. The main thing is that it all gets above the table. There's always going to be cheating, but that's the problem. The culture of everything is done shady is the biggest issue. That's the problem. The NIL was not intended to be what it is. It was intended to be for guys to actually go out there and they're doing sponsorships. It's not the collectives and all that kind of stuff. It's silly shit. What's wrong with the schedule? JC, what do you think about? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. They just, except for it's real easy. It's real easy for some, and it's a bear for others for 2 years in a row. It seems lazy to me, really lazy to me that Sankey and the SEC just yeah, we're going to play the same teams 2 years in a row, home at home, when they could have just done what they originally said they were going to do. And there's no explanation for that part of it. That's where I'm at on it. Blame Cal. I don't know if he's gone. I'm not saying I don't have faith in BV. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that BV's not going to continue sticking him in the game if he's making mistakes like he's made. If go back and watch that BYU game, guys. Go back and watch the BYU game. He was god-awful. Cal set it all in motion. Who cares about that? Look, they all have to do that, man. And most of these guys are getting agents anyway because you can now. I mean, this is where if you're doing this the right way, then you're making, just like they do in the NFL, you're making people available for them to show them how to manage their money and everything else. But I'm not against players getting paid, guys. I'm never going to be. If that's what you want, you're in the wrong place, because that's not ever going to be me. Because in the end, the truth is, this is a problem that has been made by the adults, the NCAA, coaches, administrators, all of that. This is not a problem that was made by, these kids didn't make a single freaking rule. Not one. They're empowered a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And if really this is an opportunity, I truly believe this is an opportunity for you to turn it into a positive thing and get away from this culture that college football and college sports in general have always had of cheating. You got to cheat to win. I'm going to tell you this. I believe that what Nick Saban had to say on Capitol Hill was bullshit. Bullshit. I understand what he's talking about, but you can't, you've got an $18 million house and a $20 million house, and you want me to freaking cry me a river about having to deal with kids that want their money. Cry me a freaking river. No, that's not exactly. He ain't playing favorites. No, and look, this is not true. The kids are not at fault here. They didn't make a rule. Think about what really happened, Bazoo. Think about what really happened. They went on something totally different to the Supreme Court, and Justice Kavanaugh was waiting on them with the report talking about how unlawful what they were doing was, their labor practices. And what do? Okay, we'll just throw out NIL. No guardrails, nothing in place. The states, some states were able to do certain things, some weren't. The NIL is basically endorsements. You guys realize that's what it's supposed to be. You're using what it's supposed to be is what Caleb Williams and like some of those guys are really doing. That they're doing national. I mean, look at Caleb Williams. He's got 3 different national brands that were sponsoring him after he won the Heisman. He was already making more than that before, but that was a real NIL deal. I'm sure he got whatever he got from USC, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that's what it's supposed to be, is you're getting endorsements, and not everybody's going to get but look, if you do a revenue share, it's going to be similar to the NFL, that the good guys get more money than the other guys. But if you have a contract, you can't just wiggle out of the contract. If you sign a 2-year deal, you're probably going to be there unless you pay to get out of it, just like coaches have to pay to get out of it. Unless you are Kalen DeVore. If he stays 3 years, he doesn't have a buyout. If he left next year, it's only $5 million. What we got? Oh, come on. How you feel about the NCAA possibly being gone soon? Good riddance, JC. Good riddance. Brother, Good reason. I mean, look, again, this all went sideways and it's been dirty for decades and look, man, I've been a freaking sports writer covering college sports for 2 decades. This is not the first thing that's ever happened, what you're talking about. Yes, there's got to be, everything's got, I mean, look, regulation protects the players, it protects the schools, it protects everybody. And that's the whole point, is that when Nick Saban went up there and said all that shit that he said at Capitol Hill, then it gets people like you over here talking shit about the kids like it's all their fault. That's ridiculous. Think about the Big Ten in that. And that's the other thing. Think about the Big Ten in that, the COVID thing. You're bringing up COVID? Get out of here. You're bringing up COVID. Look at the Big Ten said they weren't going to play. So did the Pac-12. And then whenever, they decide, oh shit, we're losing a lot of money there because the rest of them are going to do the playoff, and they got Ohio State in and got their money. Don't tell me that this was about Cal. Cal, are you joking? Get out of here, bro. That's silly talk. Silly talk. Okay. Yeah, no. I mean, look, there's what did I just say? There has been there is an absolute culture of cheating all over college sports everywhere. The guys, now this can bring it above the table. At least you would have some kind of control over it. And here's the other thing. It's going to self-correct anyway. Look at all these kids that are going in the portal and not coming out. That number's not decreasing. At some point, you got to make the right decision. We're talking about we're throwing temper tantrums about 1% of these kids. The same 1% that are going to the NFL. That's who we're throwing the shit fit about. You're not saying nothing about the 3-star guys that don't ever come back. You're not saying nothing about that stuff. You wouldn't say shit about somebody like, look at the guys that have left. Tawi Walker. What if he, thankfully BV was going to let him come back if he wanted to. But when he got in the portal, those are one of those guys that never get out. Thankfully, he did enough that Wisconsin wanted him. But there's guys out there that go into the portal every year and they never play college sports again. And so that's got to self-correct too. But you have to allow it to happen. That's the other. I mean, how many rich people got rich by throwing money away for nothing? They're getting zero return on that shit. You're not going to see a ton of that. You're not going to keep seeing it. And how many times, look at Texas A&M. How many of those kids have said, we got promised all this money through NIL and didn't get it? Look at what happened at Florida with Jaden Rashada. They got promised all that money, didn't get it. He ends up at freaking Arizona State. Florida to Arizona State. Look, man, this shit's been going on forever, though. This is brand new, JC? Is this brand new? It's not. It's not brand new. This has been going on forever, man. Think about what happened back in the day with Switzer. This shit has been going on forever. Look at what SMU did. They got in trouble how many times before they gave them the death penalty? They were buying everything for those dudes. Every one of the guys that went to SMU, Eric Dickerson and all those, they all had those gold Z28 things, whatever, or 280Zs, whatever the Dawsons were. Exactly. Yeah, Eric Dickerson. Eric Dickerson talks about it all the time now. He said he told Darrell Royal, nope, you got to up your price. That's when Darrell Royal decided he was done. It was those 280Zs, man, those Nissan Datsun whatever's, the gold ones that they were doing. Saw it on that thing. It's hilarious though. And I mean, but they just did it. They were flaunting it. And that's what happened with Switzer too. He was kind of doing it out in the open a little too much, Got Oklahoma in a lot of trouble. He's still the king. Dude, Eric Dickerson was a bad dude, man. He was a bad dude. He was a bad dude. He reminds me. I always look at when I don't like comparing a lot of players, but like athletically speaking, I think AD and him were really close. Like he reminded me a lot of AD. Kind of the same type of running. Yeah, Florida State was cheating. Miami. The U, they all cheat, bro. They all do. Duke, North Carolina basketball cheat their asses off. You just don't know about it. You just don't know about it. Of course. Yeah, SC's always look, they took Reggie's Heisman away over it. It happens all the time. Now that's stupid too. Reggie ought to have his Heisman back. He ought to have his Heisman back. No, look, I watched we all watched that season. Probably the best football game I've ever seen was that Rose Bowl. Rashad McCants. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. And old Roy didn't know nothing about it. Didn't know shit about it. I don't know what you mean. I don't know. Of course you don't, coach. Thank you. This is the comment of the night so far. That's absolutely correct. That's the thing. Look, I understand that he did a lot for college football. I'm not saying he's all the way evil. What he did, look, he has been, and something that I agree with Ty on that he said last night was that, look, he was the guy that was, he always evolved it as he needed to. It gets to a certain point where you get to a certain age, you're done with that shit. And this was literally threatening his way life. There was no way he could keep up anymore. He was still recruiting number 1 or number 2. Yeah, Rhett Bomar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. I met him one time in Vegas at my job. I liked him a lot more before I met him. Liked him a lot more before I met him. But that was, look, again, these things happen a lot. And in the end, is it really, here's the deal. Why did that have to happen? You were going to have to pay him some ways, but why did you have to set up something stupid like that? Like where, that they can find out that what was going on. He was getting paid and never going to the job. He could have just done something simple. Because if he was doing it out in the open, just doing television commercials for that car dealership, like he could have done that now. That would have been legitimate money. But it was against the law to do that too. So you end up doing it under the table. See, everything is just the whole deal was the culture has always been to cheat. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't pay those kids, you don't get those kids. Rhett Bomar he's still one of the top 2 all-time recruits in Oklahoma history as far as 247 is concerned. They could have. Yeah, of course. Shout out to Buc-ee's. He said Rashad McCants had a 0.0 GPA. He's getting F's and basket weaving, bro. Coach, one of these days we need to talk about some of the things that, we should probably have a conversation about it first because I know we hadn't talked a ton about it, but like some of the things that you saw as a Texas 6A head football coach and some of the things that you heard about. Because, yeah, that exactly. How do you change that though, Hank? There's only one way is to literally to start splitting. And don't think for one second that a big part of it is that it's greed. They don't want to give up their money. They don't want to give up any of it. Yeah. I know guys like that. I knew a guy from here in Hobbs that went to Arizona, play basketball there. You got tutors and all this shit like that. They do your homework for you at places like that. You think Carmelo Anthony went to class though, Des? I'm doubting it. I'm doubting it, you know? Of course. Mm-hmm. That Kyle, it is absolutely not. It's not. Because look, I mean, there's money out there, man. There's definitely money out there. Oh. This is, I mean, these are not new things. It happens, man. It happens a lot, you know? Just wild to me, you know, because some of those guys, and look, I mean, you mean to tell me that who the hell would want to go play for that nerd ass drink unless there was a bundle of cash there behind it? The dude looks like he should be in a lab coat or doing your freaking taxes. Shit. Mm-hmm. No, dude, that's the whole point is, to me, that guy that I was talking about, it was crazy to me. And I like the kid. And I talk to him still to this day, son. And I told him back then, I was like, what the hell's the matter with you? Y'all don't have some chick that could have done all your homework? Good grief. And he had chance after chance. They finally let him go. We're talking about a guy that was, as a freshman, was going in there. He was an NBA guy, no doubt about it. It happens, though. It happens. A lot. But if you want some of these things like Caden Proctor, stuff like that, I mean, if I'm Iowa, I'm pissed. You know what I mean? I'm pissed off because that is kind of shady. The whole deal with Caden Green, that was where, there was clearly tampering going on there. Look, these are the kind of things, if you're under contract, you can tamper if you want to, but you're probably going to get caught, number one. And number two, what are you going to do? If you break the contract, then you're going to have to pay for that too. Look, you just have to get it the right way. And I'm not blaming it on the kids, man. I'm never going to be that guy to do that. Do I think that there's some kids that are shady? Yeah. I also don't know what kind of situation they're coming from too, man. If their family is hungry and they need money, how can you blame them? Somebody was talking the other day about that there were kids that were like holding teams hostage during the game, that they weren't going back in unless they gave them this kind of money or whatever. Do I doubt that? No. I've heard of shit like that before NIL came along. Probably not a guy you want on your team, but some guys are that good. What do you think? I mean, the whole deal with Cam Newton, I mean, he was supposed to be at, was it Ole Miss or Mississippi State? One of those two. And then all of a sudden he's at Auburn. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, what do you think Adrian Peterson's dad was saying to those dudes whenever they went to go see him in prison? A lot of kids making a lot of money around the house. Shit happens. Proposed this the other day. We need to make a horns down gesture for LSU. I'm trying to piss off everybody this year more than I do. That was a perfect example of what happens if you don't adapt to the media. Yeah, Dabo. And that's the other thing there. You cannot tell me that guys like Deshaun Watson didn't want money. Come on, man. I think it's very similar to what I feel about Nick Saban when it comes to Dabo. And this idea that you're just not going to use the transfer portal because you're not even recruiting as good as you used to. So why aren't you? You better. How do you let guys like Keon, what's his name, that played for Florida State? How the hell does he get over there and you don't go after that guy when all you've needed for the last 3 or 4 years is receiver help? Coach I's nephew, that stud. Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins. Coach Eisner, he's a stud, straight up. They wanted him to go everywhere. He's going to South Carolina. You know why? Because they acted like they cared about him. You going to tell me that Clemson couldn't have got him? Beamer worked harder. Coach, I was talking about, Beamer worked harder. He wanted him more. Easy, guys. Easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I hated when they went to the national championship game and lost, right? When they got beat by Georgia. And he sat there and like basically blamed his guys that were sitting there. And everybody's talking about, oh, what a great speech that was. And he loves these young men. I took that as this is on them, not me. That was just me. But he's definitely been crankier and crankier and crankier. And it's just is what it is, man. He didn't like the way that they're going to have to do it. And they haven't put together a collective the way that Texas or Texas A&M for sure. And now you see A&M's AD goes to Ohio State. Oh, lo and behold, they get heavy in the portal. Of course, Ryan Day's, he's in trouble if he doesn't. He better, at the very least, you got to beat Michigan's ass this year. Trevor Lawrence got paid. Come on, man. There was a bidding war there. Come on, guys. Think about it. Same with Fields, Justin Fields. All those guys you're talking about, Georgia, Bama, Clemson, they all were, there was a bidding war going on there. Guaranteed. No two ways around it. Yeah. Well, I don't know that he's not doing them, though. Here's the thing about Saban is that, remember whenever Jimbo got all pissy about it because they had the cameras in there, he was talking to boosters to give him more money. He was talking about how they bought their team, which they did. We know that. And why Jimbo lied about it, I have no idea. It was already legal, and he's screaming about sliced bread. The hell's wrong with you, Jimbo? Yeah, it's the get off my lawn guy. Absolutely. But he was there saying all that shit. He was talking. Deion Sanders said it perfect. He wasn't talking to me, and he wasn't talking to Jimbo. He was talking to his boosters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Dabo, mediocre Mike sitting on the porch beside us. Oh, yeah, dude. Mediocre Mike. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't fire him. If they hadn't turned it around the way they did last year, he was gone because he hadn't been around, and they had met with this collective that Pokes with a Purpose, all these guys. They were wanting to get serious about their NIL stuff. And right now they're pissed off about it with basketball. I don't know why they're not going to get Bob Huggins. I don't. I think that's crazy that they wouldn't. But that's even if it's just a stopgap, because he'll get guys. But they were talking about how much money they were going to do, and he literally said, "I'd rather you put it more into facilities." The players, first of all, OSU already has really good facilities, as good as top 5% of college football. They're good to go there. But the players could give a shit. They're not coming there because of your facilities anymore. They're not. There's money involved. And, look, there's a part of it. I like the way that the balance that BV seems to be striking with it. They know that they have to pay them, but they're only going to pay guys that fit in with their culture. They're going to stick with their culture and all that stuff. And if you're going to be that guy, I think it's the same way Kirby is. And I think it's the same way that Sark is, even though I know they're paying, but he's not getting into those big conversations about money right away. It's got to be about something else, or else we don't ever get to that conversation. Right. That's not supposed to be how it is anyway, but we all know that everybody was using it as an enticement. Some guys weren't. Because when Williams Nwaneri went to Georgia, he went in there talking money, and Kirby kicked him out. Leave. He wasn't there an hour. We're not talking money with you. We don't have to have you. You know? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you've been in here when we had Big Dave on. Big Dave Uyunglele. He said he talked to BV more than he talked to Dabo the whole time that he was there. He loves BV. I think that I was saying this the other day, and this is what I feel about Oklahoma when it comes to their recruiting. There's a reason why. I mean, when you talk about Lebby and he did a good job with his recruiting, he did a really good job with NIL as well. He kind of helped put everything into place for the NIL collective and to kind of get that running, right? But a lot of us were expecting that BV or that Lebby leaves, so does JFA. So does Dylan. Now, Dylan left, but I also feel, we've talked about why I think that is. I think he got shit on too much. He got over it. And they offered him a big fat chunk of cash at Oregon. And maybe he didn't want to get beat out by JFA. Quarterbacks tend to know when their days are numbered. Because, look, I don't know that you're never going to really see another level from Dylan Gabriel. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. We've said it a bunch before. You can't, if you don't have the arm that he doesn't have, you can't be late, and he's late. When he's not late, he's fine. But there's limitations that Jackson doesn't have, and he does. And he saw that. He saw him in practice every day. He saw it. Oh, my bad. You can go back just a second. And those ads, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, true. Yeah, for sure. And look, you kind of have to do that shit, though, right? Mm-hmm. Their defense has still been really good at Clemson. I will say that. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. That's what I was saying is I think that he saw quarterbacks they all see the writing on the wall. Go back to Baker and Trevor. Everybody thought that Trevor Knight was going to be the guy. Trevor knew it was time to get out of there. When Baker showed up, time to go. Because he was that guy. Trevor was a really good quarterback. He wasn't Baker. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think. But again, what I was getting at was you start thinking about Lebby. What I'm going to tell you about Lebby and his family, his wife, Bryles, all that shit that happened after SMU when Bryles was down on the field. Now, first off, I don't buy for 1 second that there was ever a rule about him not being there. I don't. Now, and I felt like they definitely felt like they got thrown under the bus. And his wife loves her daddy. They take up for him, and they've been protective of him in the past. I think there's some reason that you should be protective if you're in that family. There's a lot of shady shit that's been going on at Baylor for a lot of years before our Bryles got there. I don't think the Bryles did everything right, but I don't think that it's just, but you expected Jackson to probably split, right? You almost expected Michael Hawkins might too. None of them. They didn't lose any of them. Joe John Finley was the best man at his wedding. He's not down there either. He's not down in Mississippi either. He probably would have been offensive coordinator. I've heard that he might have offered the coordinator job, not calling plays, though, to either of them, but to DeMarco as well. He didn't go either. I do believe that Jeff Lebby, whatever happened after SMU behind closed doors, it never went away. And he'll never coach at Oklahoma again. Never. I don't see it. I think it's a shame. I like Jeff. I think that, yeah. And it was. And that's the thing is there were some little things here and there, and I'm not bad-mouthing Jeff Lebby. I think he's an offensive mind. He's learned from one of the best offensive minds I know in Art Briles. So you say whatever you want about what happened at Baylor. They were putting up ridiculous numbers. I was there the last that year that RG3 won the freaking Heisman, and they had Josh Gordon there, and they beat the shit out of Oklahoma down there in Waco. Beat the shit out. It wasn't. They were that good. But I do think that, look, this is where I was getting at. This recruiting thing that they do, and they do it very, very well. And you were talking about Dabo. I believe that here's the thing, they do it, and I think that they do that there at Clemson as well, but just because you're the guy that's the face of it or whatever, you're that position coach. Yeah, I think that that's important, but I don't think that any of them, I think they all try to make some kind of friendship with them. You know what I mean? And it's all about the entirety of it. And the whole deal with the soul mission and all that stuff, it's about an entire family thing. And you think about it, he's insulated this program with guys he trusts that he's been around as players and coaches. All of these guys either worked with him at Clemson or worked with him at Oklahoma in the past. All of them. All of them. And there's more guys there at Clemson still that he would go after. But the Zach Alley thing, I love that move. He trusts him. If BV trusts him, I do. You are absolutely correct. Yes. And Parker Thune absolutely instigated that. Yes, he did. Not a fan of Parker whatsoever. I think he's a little fucking dipshit punk. I said it. I've said it before. Remember whenever, Hank, you remember when we had Nigel Smith on the show that time, and he was talking about that he talked to BV the day before while BV was running stairs, and he's talking to Nigel on the phone. I mean, you know what I mean? He loves Coach Venables. He said he loves Coach Venables. You know, Bates is his guy, but they all love Coach BV. They all do. It's absolutely more important than any of it. Look at what Just Money did to A&M. Elko might be better with that, right? He had to do more with less at Duke, and he was winning there. When Riley, they just didn't have the depth they had to have to win it. Oh yeah, he's a weasel, bro. He's a weasel. All there is to it. If you notice them on Twitter, like them and the guys from Sooner Scoop are always, it's just drama. The insiders drama is constant. There's guys down like that down in Austin though too. BV got like 4 more years. The way he's recruiting, if that defense makes the step forward this year, like it has every other time, and they've continue recruiting like this, they've always recruited well on offense. They're recruiting unbelievably good on defense right now. Look, he played the chess game with Sark in the Cotton Bowl last year, and he won. And listen, I believe that one thing I'll tell you about Sark, his play calling, unbelievably good, right? I think that there was times that BV got the best of him, made him overthink a little bit. And I don't know that he trusts Quinn all that much. I feel that way, that he doesn't trust Quinn as much as you probably would want him to. I don't know. Eddie seems okay, but I also don't look, man, anything that when you're charging people money for something, and the whole deal that with Dylan Gabriel, and Dylan going on his show, but it's not just Eddie though. It was also what's his name? The dude that was always pissing off Lincoln. Why am I forgetting his name? Yeah, there was a mess here, dude. I laugh at the guys that think that it's a bad thing that Lincoln's gone, because it's not. Even if BV was to not turn out to be a really good head coach, which I don't believe that that's the case. I think that there's a learning curve. Coach talks about it all the time. That's the video that we're working. He's been sick, so we hadn't had time to do it. But that's the video we're working on. Is kind of just what he's seen as far as that goes, and what that step is with a guy like Zach Alley, and with these guys giving them more responsibility. Now he has to let go of the reins. But I think that with Zach Alley, you probably can and get better at that other side of things, right? A lot of these guys, having to call plays and do all that shit and be in every meet. I mean, you need to be in other places. I just believe that. And so with me, I think that even if he were to fail and he wasn't able to make that next step, which I don't believe that that's the case. There's enough good coaches there that he if not being able to trust people is a problem, then there's a problem within himself, because he's not that guy. He has faith in everything else. Why wouldn't he have faith in his guys? It seems like he does. I think he's going to succeed. But even if he didn't, he's putting together a way of doing things that you had to build this team to go to the SEC. Lincoln was never going to build this team. Lincoln was never going to build this team. Everybody that thinks he's built it at USC already with those defensive coaches that they brought in, we've heard that shit before. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like the guys that they may be very good. He still has to do his part to play complimentary football, and he didn't do that last year. He left freaking Alex Grinch out to dry. He did it the whole time when Alex was here too. I'm not even saying that I think Grinch is good, but how would you know? How would you know? There's a lot to it. It is what it is, man. It just is what it is. You have to definitely, there's a lot more to it than just one side of the football. And one thing I do know is these offense-only coaches, they're the ones that don't win. They're the ones that don't win. You can say that Kirby and Nick Saban are boring as shit, because sometimes they were. And you think about Les Miles, run the ball and play defense, and they would win. We don't have to talk about their personal stuff, but these offensive coaches win games. They don't win championships, though. They just don't. Everybody was upset when he left at first. But now that you look back at it, and we've talked through this for the last 2 years that I've had this show, guys, it's the best thing that ever happened to Oklahoma. He's a slime bag the way he did it. And nobody should ever forgive him, because he continues to talk shit about Oklahoma when he doesn't need to. But, because I named him Lincoln. I wonder how many people change their dog's name. Oh, what are we talking about? Next 2 years will give you an idea where your program is at the pecking order. Then it's about maintaining and taking the next step. Sure. Yeah, man. Look, I think that these, Shawty, what did you think about this whole deal with that schedule bullshit today? It's lazy, bro. Lazy. What do you think there? Sixth in recruiting right now, and that's without the commitments from either one of those 5-star linemen or that linebacker. If you get those guys, you're going up. Yeah, I think so too. And then, they lost the receiver that wants to go play basketball. They're not going to let him do that. Not going to let him do that. What are we talking about? Dude, Chowdy. Oh, Parker Thune. Yeah, he's not my favorite. I think he's a little twerp. Fucker. Yeah, but they already had the move was to just swap the freaking games. What is that? I mean, it was supposed to be you either played Texas this year or next year. Same with Oklahoma, this year or next year. It would have swapped it. It would have been any different. What's the difference? Why did they do that? I don't buy it. I think it's bullshit. And I think it was super lazy on his part. What's up, Ryman Lemon? Hoping we get Blaylock. I still do too, but I just think that. Yep. So yeah, one of the top guys at Apple was an Auburn guy, right? The CFO or something like that. But what does that mean? What does that mean? They've been locked in for the CFP. None of that he talked about. It doesn't. What does it have to do with the college football playoff? If you're assuming that by keeping the schedule the way it is with Mizzou and Texas, that they're gonna like lead the way for you and make sure that you get in the playoff, you're not doing it right. I mean, really? I'm about to piss off. You're about to make me piss off my boy Dez in here because I'm about to say some shit about Texas. If you're trusting them when Sark has won 10 games once, and all I'm going to say about that is that, look, I put those numbers up there earlier, and I'm saying it again. Oklahoma's opponents were plus 45 wins and losses overall, and Texas is plus 5. If they don't win, then what excuse you got if you're Texas? I think that they haven't figured it out, man. I think that you get better by going up against the better teams, too. I'm actually glad that Oklahoma is going to continue playing the better teams. I just think it was lazy. But I also think that you could have split that up. I think the same for Alabama and Georgia. I think that, they kind of got the shaft on it. Why does Mizzou get a cupcake eat? Look at this shit. Aside from OU and Alabama, I mean, they don't really have an excuse to not win a bunch. Texas A&M could beat them. I think they will. But, I mean, again, I don't know, man. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, it happens. But again, and look, here's the thing about that. This is a Lincoln Riley thing. And to be fair, and I'll say this too, I'm a big fan of Bob Stoops, but Bob wasn't really coming through. The Choklahoma thing started before Lincoln became head coach. It did. That's a fact. He wasn't winning those big games anymore. He wasn't. So, look, it is what it is. And I think that they've got the right guy. But, yeah, I mean, that's something that that Lincoln was not going to build the type of team that you had to build to win in the SEC. I give Sark enough credit that he has known that you got to get those guys on defense. He does know that. But, well, NIL is – I don't have a problem with NIL. My problem is that it's not being used correctly, and what you should be doing, and you guys don't get Shawty started because you're gonna. But the way that it needs to be used is not the way that it's being used. If you want to – revenue share is how you fix this problem, because the money – but you're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube first and foremost. The Supreme Court's already said that you can't do this, that this is not okay how you're doing things at the NCAA. They put them on notice right then and there. The money is never going back. Now, you can do it the right way, and you can put them under contract where they have to pay a buyout too, but you can't stop paying players. And coaches are making 10, 12. I mean, look at Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, he hasn't coached a freaking game there. And $10.8 million. His buyout, it's an 8-year deal, 10.8. He doesn't have a buyout if he stays 3 years that he has to buy out. Right? If he stays those 3 years, they have to fully guarantee his money. It's 90% guaranteed anyway. So if they fired him after 1 or 2 years or whatever, I think 3 years is the max or whatever, and they're going to pay him. They have to pay him. But he doesn't have to pay to get out if he decides he can't take the heat, if he stays 3 years. But even if he was to leave after 1 year, they said it would be like $5 million. That's nothing for a guy like that. You got an $80 million contract. What's 5? Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. And I'm saying, look, this is where I'm at on the whole deal. Is that I'm never going to be on the wrong side of this for me. And to me, I've watched it as a journalist and and a sports fan for my whole life. Guys, know this. They've always been getting paid. NIL is what it should be. There's nothing bad about it, NIL. What it is that this isn't NIL. Collectives are giving guys money, and whether or not it's still promoting illegal activity or shady activity, tampering, things like that, because they're using it as a collective. These kids aren't necessarily going out and promoting your products or this or that or this or that. Maybe they're going and doing, how many of those guys do you really want their autograph? Not everybody's Johnny Manziel. Not everybody's Caleb Williams. So the way that it'll work if you just do it right. You contract them, you pay them, you've got your lowest, your guys that are at the low end of the pay scale, and you got your guys that are at the high end of the pay scale. And then you have a contract that they have to buy their way out of too. That will slow it down, and at least everything is on the up and up. I know that there's something to it. It's going to take some time, but like with Nino was talking, and I understood what Nino was saying, but the bottom line is that's the only way that that shit is not going away. In fact, they got to find a way to do it. They've just shown you that if you're not going to give them money contract-wise and profit share, all these judges are saying, well, then you cannot stop them from leaving whenever the hell they want. This is why the Caden Proctor thing came about, because he can do whatever he wants to do. There's just no way to do it. That is not, Bazoo, who the hell tells you all this crap? That's the silly shit. That's silly. Guys, don't put a bunch of F words in the comments if you can keep from it. I mean, put another sin, you can mess with my channel like that. I don't mind cussing, and I'm going to say the F word from time to time, but they're getting a little stickier on YouTube. So do me a favor, don't use the whole word when you type it in, and I definitely can't put it on the screen when you do. Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm just saying, please do. I'm as guilty as anybody, believe me. But the thing is like that's the YouTube's getting a little twitchy about some stuff. Even freaking the Kelsey brothers were talking about that shit on their show the other day. Weird. Agents, and look, agents they're supposed to be slimy. That's their job. They get money for getting money for their clients, though. Some guys are better than others, and some guys are more trustworthy than others. The bottom line is the kids didn't make the rules, man. They didn't make the rules. The rules have been made and broken and all that other shit by people that are a lot older than them and are doing it on purpose. It's been intentionally set up poorly, and this is why everybody's pissed off. Look at the way the ACC wrote their freaking grant of rights so that they could hold these schools into it. And like, I mean, look, whatever side you fall on that deal, I don't really care. To me, I think it was pretty clear that, and they wrote it after the Big 12. They basically fashioned it, and the Big 12 wasn't able to enforce theirs. Texas and OU were leaving. They could have fought about it in court. They're not going to do that forever. In the end, Florida State and Clemson are going to leave, and some of the other ones may too. I think the ones that are talking right now, there's a lot of people out there talking, acting like, no, we're all in support of the ACC. Well, yeah, that's because you're not that brand that is being that people want. You're making money off of Florida State and Clemson being there. You're not making the money. Of course they support the ACC because they know that if those two programs leave, they're screwed. Carolina leaves, they're real screwed. Miami doesn't want to go anywhere unless it's the SEC because they don't want to be up in the cold. And I don't blame them. I'm surprised that Florida State's talked like they want to do the Big Ten. I don't buy it. Yeah, man. It is what it is. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of these guys that do that shit. A lot of these guys do that stuff, man. Yeah. Easy on that word too, Kyle. Don't be bad mouthing them. JJ was on here with me last week, remember, guys? And he was talking about, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, but when he was talking about the whole thing with Jordan Addison at USC, I've heard this story. They offered him $2.5 million, and they definitely tampered. I mean, if you listen to Phil Narduzzi, he was pissed. Pat Narduzzi, pissed, throwing a shit fit about it. And I mean, there's nothing they can really do because it's not like Lincoln called him. You just get a kid that knows him to pick up the phone. But anyway, he wasn't planning to leave. He just won the freaking Biletnikoff. They offered him $2.5 million to go to LA. He sat out of like 4 games because they didn't pay him. They never paid him. He got 10% of what they offered him. Now, say what you want to say. I mean, he should have been getting more. The NIL stuff that he should have been getting, it shouldn't have just been collective. This is a guy that won the Biletnikoff. He should have been able to get commercials and shit like that. He was very good. He was a first rounder after that, even though. But how shady is that? The Jaden Rashada stuff, shady. I've heard a lot of stuff about Jimbo and A&M. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The smartest players and the ones that look, and it's hard to really kind of push on the players that need the money more because some of them just do, man. I mean, some of them just do. But the guys that, if they've got a family behind them that, I've heard there was coaches that there's been players, parents that we've talked to that have said, look, we've got some money. We're not rich, but we've got enough money. We want him to be in the right place. This is things that we've heard. Makari Vickers' families talked about stuff like that, right? About Venables and Coach Valai in those. That's truth, right? But not everybody's in that same situation. So, but you get, and believe me, there's coaches out there that are preying on that shit. Jimbo Fisher, he's a fucking used car salesman. You know, I was watching Colin Cowherd one day. I know that's blasphemous, but I did it. I'm watching him, and he's got Jimbo on, and he said, "Give me your sit down pitch with the player. Why a player would want to come and play for you? Give me 30 seconds." Used car salesman, man, and it was not. It wasn't. It was like so grimy. I didn't say the whole word. And I could say it, but I know for sure if you say it within the first 2 minutes, you has to be bleeped out. There's certain things that they're doing with that, but like having it in print and stuff like that, where whatever, I don't know why they're like that. I don't know what, I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes and I don't have a producer here to work through some of the stuff and be able to watch it. So it is tough. FC gave them away out. The excuse was we don't want to play Bama and Florida at the time. What? Oh. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's, and look, man, not everybody's out for the best interest. I will say that, you know, I think of guys like Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, even for that matter, too. Look, he's put a lot of guys into the NFL. That in and of itself tells you that he's done good for people, right? The story that he talks about with Muhsin Muhammad when he had him at Michigan State, that, you know, I don't remember exactly. I think he got in a fight and they wanted his ass gone. He kept him around, and look, you know, he's done very well for himself. He was a great player in the NFL. He would have never made it without that. There's a lot of guys like that. He's made sure a lot of kids ate and were very successful. Again, you know, it's not that hard to coach really good players. You know, but he, you know, teaching them to be a man. I mean, you know, same thing I feel about BV. Yeah, Joe Mixon. But he did lose to Tulane. They did. Sooner Cowboys, welcome in. They did. I love that you came in with that. Yeah, Joe Mixon. Listen, and Joe, there's some shit still there. I mean, look, that's a tough one there. But and to be fair, that's probably what ran Coach Stoops off, probably. Yeah, but we don't have to play with the same coach. He's gone. He's at Houston though, but it'll probably take him a year or two to get them turned around. Definitely don't want to overlook him. But Tulane lost pretty much everything whenever he left. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong here. This is absolutely. Bobby Bowden said it out loud too often. For the SEC, hated Florida State, hated him, hated Coach Bowden, because he was like, "Why the hell I go to the Orange Bowl every year here? Why the shit would I go to the SEC and deal with that?" He never said shit, but you know, dude, I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with it. Boomer, don't start that shit with me, man. I have nothing to do with it. And what I mean, look, if it's that big, I don't know why. Yeah, that's, you know what? Sometimes I'm doing this. You know how many hours that we put into this stuff? I'm not doing it for my health. I love what I'm doing, but you know. Yeah. OSU and that, oh, they're weak sauce, dude. Freaking OSU. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course, Mike. Handle Boomer 129 for me. Tell his ass. Thank you, Sooner Cowboys. Out of conference game. It's definitely not Tulane. Houston, yeah, because they've got Tulane's Willie's there now. He's at Houston. Jeez. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. If you hadn't already hit the like button, please do. We've still got 100 people in here between the two channels. If you haven't already become a member of our, for you Oklahoma fans for sure, of our Oklahoma channel, the Hall of Fame Sooners, get over there, do that as well if you would. We want to migrate some of that. The way that you kind of are able to work this algorithm, because it's all algorithm based, is to be able to really keep it about one thing. You know, something I've been talking about a lot with Mike the Legend here is that you want to really stay kind of focused on whatever it is. The SEC show's starting to do better because the Sooners are in the SEC, but you know, if you pinpoint it more, it's like SEO. I don't know how many people know SEO, but if you pinpoint it a little bit more, and it's what Google really, really wants is that when somebody puts something in, they never send them to the wrong video. And so relevancy is all that really matters. So we're trying to, Jay's doing the same thing. He's got that second channel. I don't know if I know that Dave from David Talks Buffs, he's got a second channel that he does as well. So there's a lot of guys that are doing Coach I, and then we're doing it too. So they've actually added a couple of things. So yeah, we got a War Eagle in here now. Gonna be a fun week 5. Hey, so Bazoo, do you have season tickets? Do you go a lot? Do you go a lot to the games there, or do you live out there still? Yeah, maybe Houston. Bro. You go to 3 home games a year? Nice. It's cool. How many Iron Bowls have you been to? That's cool. I think that those are the kind of things. I'll tell you something. That last year, I only really went to one road game, but we went to Cincinnati when I went with Chicken and them. Great time. Nippert Stadium, if you ever get an opportunity to go to Nippert Stadium, unbelievable. Great atmosphere. It's the oldest stadium in the country, oldest college football stadium in the country. The people were chill. Cincinnati's a really cool sports town, actually. Really fun. But I cannot wait for the SEC ones. I cannot wait for these SEC towns. All of them. All of them. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. But I'm saying, like, that was a cool experience. I'm glad I went. I'm really glad I went. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Oh, hey. That's rough, bro. Rough. Kentucky goes down. I think Coach Cal may have lost his fastball, folks. I think he may have lost his fastball. He's been struggling for the last 3 or 4 years. When he's more worried about fighting with Stoops, something's wrong. when they're listening to Stoops in arguments with Coach Cal, the basketball coach, there's something wrong at Kentucky. Been to Death Valley once. Let's see. Do my best to get out to Knoxville. Downtown Knox is legit fun. Yeah, man. You forgot that? Do you like Parker? Are you a fan of Parker? Is it 300 to see? Wow. Yeah. I feel like that first year is probably going to be like that a lot of places for Oklahoma and Texas, huh? Everybody's going to want to get to them. Well, it's like the last Bedlam game. I didn't find a ticket, and I was looking months ahead. You couldn't find anything under like that was anywhere decent in Stillwater for under like $800. It was insanity. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. They were saying that even in Cincinnati they were talking about that they jacked those prices up there for Oklahoma. Digital scalpers. Yeah, man. No doubt. And they're out there. They're definitely out there. Well, really, I was surprised. I hadn't really looked into season tickets in a while. I'm certainly looking now, but like you can get, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but except for the prices that I was seeing, like on that Facebook, there was that Facebook deal that they had, or a few different people that I saw, and it was right around 2,500 or something like that for I think 2 seats, maybe 3,000 for 2 seats, but it didn't include Red River. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Cheapest for the Auburn games, $241. Yeah. Okay, so at Jordan Hare, how many seats are in Jordan Hare? It's over 100, isn't it? You will be? Nice. Nice. I don't know if I'm going to make it out there or not for that one. I'm definitely going to LSU. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care, to be honest with you. I think more than anything, I want to go experience the tailgating and the people and stuff like that. And, I think the early part of the day, even if it's a night game, I think I want to do that part because I hear at night it's nutty. But Bama game at home. Baton Rouge. Nice. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be at the Tennessee game. I'll be there for that one. I want to be there for Bama too. Yeah. And then LSU. 87.5 at Jordan here. Okay. Yeah. I think that's pretty set. What is the Palace is right around 80 now, isn't it, guys? Mm-hmm. But see, but Death Valley's like 105, isn't it? Nice. It seems like the triple the stadium's capacity is tailgating. Yeah. So they're like going to a NASCAR race or something. It's pretty wild. But at Death Valley's like 105,000 or something like that. I know it's like that at Tennessee. It's like 107, isn't it? At Neyland. And then do you get over 100 at we're going to LSU. Legend Mike Chicken will be there too, I think. 101. Okay. Yeah, so and then Texas is, I think they're at 100 now. They're at 100 or right at it, pretty close to it. Sanford Stadium's at 100, right? Yeah, 85 at Gaylord. Yeah, okay. LSU's 102. Okay. Yep. Nobody's going. Hey, the other road game I'm going to just because I have to is all the shit they've been talking. I'm going to freaking Columbia to watch them beat the shit out of Missouri. It's got to happen. I mean, you can probably get into that game for an apple and a bag of rice by the time. Yeah. Look, I know some people around that area too. I might be able to. I feel like we should be able to get the hookup on some tickets at some different places, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I think it does. They love Oklahoma so much they named their stadium after a Sooner. I definitely want to go to the Grove too. See, that's the thing is like, which ones do you want to make this year? You know what I mean? Like it's expensive to go to all. If I could get a sponsor to send me to all of them, I'll go to every one of them. But it's unless I do that, unless we get there to that point, it's going to be tough to do, right? What's our schedule in 2025? Our schedule in 2025, you get Ole Miss and Mizzou at home, LSU at home. It's still a tough schedule, though. Texas has, got 110 at the Bama game. Yeah, I want to say Coach I was talking about that because they're going to the Georgia game out there this year. And he's been out there, but he went out I think he went for Georgia last year, or I mean, Alabama and Texas last year or 2 years ago. Yeah, so I've been to Kyle Field twice. Neither time to watch Oklahoma though. Whenever I was covering Texas Tech as a reporter, I saw him, and then I saw him play LSU one time. And I was working in Houston at that time. But, bro, it's wild down there. Wild. They've got well over 100,000 too. They're huge, and the place is just insane. The stadium actually waves. You can feel the stadium moving. They're nutty, man. They're nutty. I was in the press box the one time, and I felt like that sucker was coming out from underneath me. I hated it. It's not a fan, especially when they were beating the shit out of Tech. So they were wilding out. It was fun though. I mean, it's crazy, and I mean, you know, we make fun of Aggies all the time, but I mean, because we're supposed to, you have to. But I think most fan bases are generally pretty chill with people. I mean, look, I've been to a bunch of Red River games. I don't know that I've ever seen a fight between fans. You just don't see it, and we're right on top of each other all the time. Drinking, you know, you just don't really see it. You were at the 77 OB, were you? Nice. Woo. Yeah, I remember watching that game going, holy shit. And then, hey, I went to the Cotton Bowl game when Landry's senior year, and it was over at halftime. You know, for the Red River. They beat the shit out of Texas that year. And I was there with one of my bosses in Vegas, and he was a Texas fan, and so we went, and I couldn't even talk shit to him. I mean, it got so bad that you couldn't really say anything. I mean, felt bad for him. Yeah, Texas is big. Why not? Why aren't you? Yeah, dude. Baylor and their new stadium, McLean, is nice, very nice. It's right on the water on the river too. It's super cool. When we went, I was there when Jalen Hurts was a quarterback that year, and they almost lost that game. Jeez. But no, we got there pretty early, and we parked over there at, I forget the name of that restaurant, but then we just walked from there down the river and into the stadium. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome. What do I have? Out of chupacabra leather? That's hilarious. Well, look, it's I'll tell you what, that comeback for Oklahoma there, I by halftime, and it was cold, man. It was cold. And I was pissed because they were losing 28-7. And I was like, and I told my girlfriend at the time, I said, hey, if they don't put a points on the board with this first drive, we're out of here. Because I was freezing and I was pissed. I didn't want to stay. Then they started coming back, and they ended up winning. It was a hell of a comeback. Hell of a comeback. Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, guys. Hey, I appreciate everybody coming in. We've been talking for a couple of hours now. I was really only going to go for an hour, but I appreciate all you guys coming in. I don't know how many hit the like button, but I hope everybody has. If you haven't already, please do hit that like. Man, we only got 9. That can't be right. Let me check this again. Man, only 20 likes, guys. We have had 200 people in here already. Come on now. Help me out now. Let's go. Hit that like button. Make sure that you share it with your friends. We appreciate that. You know, that's the biggest way that you can help us. And guys, listen, if you really, I don't know how many people are, and I know how people are about their cell phones and service and stuff like that. I can tell you that I've switched my own phone to Mint Mobile. I still have my other one. I've been focused solely on Mint Mobile for 2 weeks. I have not had a single issue whatsoever. 3 months unlimited talk, text, and data for $45 by using our link. And it's on the nation's largest 5G network. You literally, everything's online. You know, you can use the phone that you have. Even if you wanted to use it as a secondary phone, you can do that. So get in there and check that out. I mean, at least save some money there. It definitely helps the program. But dude, my Verizon bill is $110 for one phone for a month. And that's with a military discount and all this other stuff. It's ridiculous. You always end up with stuff be like that, right? So it is what it is. Make sure you guys go check that out. The easiest way to help us out, though, is to make sure you hit that like button. We've got the pod merch in there, a lot of horns down stuff, things like that. We need to come up with some SEC stuff to talk about. Bazoo, let us know. Let us know what you think. But thank you guys. I appreciate you so much. All you new subscribers, Bazoo, thanks a lot for that. Let me know what you guys want to talk about in the future coming up. We'll definitely see you guys. Tuesday is our next live stream. As more stuff comes up, you're going to definitely get more stuff out of us at Hall of Fame College Football. Thanks again for joining us. We were going to have that Florida breakdown. Shelton's been kind of sick from Hightop Sports, and I couldn't get the professor in here either, so he was working. But I appreciate everybody coming in, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Amen.